been a child and you were tuned in to everything house music. Everything house music. House music. child, and you are tuned in to everything house music. To everything house music.
emotions that lack feeding. Intact, your souls have no peeling. Everything house music. Casting spells on unlearned beings, bringing them to the underground. These are grooves that are worthy. House music is where it's at, believe me. Everything house music.
Everything house music. Propelling sounds with meaning. Delivering on emotions that lack feeding. Intact, your souls have no peeling. Everything house music. Casting spells on unlearned beings, bringing them to the underground. These grooves are worthy, cause house music is where it's at. Believe me, everything house music. Sabrina Child, and you are tuned in to Everything House Music. Everything House Music.
Nazoke. Shovox.
Mic check. Good evening, everyone. Lloyd, all good, my side. Okay, hundreds. Okay, lovely to hear that. Lovely to see that, in fact. Thank you so much to each and every person that's joined us, and shout out to amazing music that we have started off the space with. The previous song is a absolute classic, from our guest this evening on Everything House Music, TekniQ himself. Lloyd played us Libra, which was released in the album Libra itself, which was released in 2021. Yes, that album has so many bangers, like 14 tracks of just amazing music. Also released under Abstract Mood Music. So go check that album out. It's still available to go and stream and listen and purchase. It's truly an amazing album. I think my favorite on that album is Amasigo. We're gonna play that at some point too. So I look forward to that. Indeed. So shout out to each and every person that's joined us. Thank you so much. Tonight on Everything House Music, we have TekniQ as our guest. We should have actually had him a while back on the Deep House Space, but I think we just couldn't. But today we actually have the privilege of talking to this young, talented producer, DJ, musician. And we're going to go through his career. We're going to play some of his music. And we also got a song that's coming up and a beautiful remix that we're also going to play during the space. So without further ado, Mr. TekniQ, please welcome to the Deeper Space for the very first time.
Yo. What's up? Thanks for the invite, guys. I've been listening to a couple of these sessions. I love what you guys are doing. I hope you guys can hear me. I'm wearing headphones, but they should be transmitting the sound efficiently. So I'm hoping you guys can hear my voice clearly.
Now, loud and clear. Thank you.
All right. Now, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. I've been meaning to actually jump on the show. Been listening to a couple of shows that you guys hosted before. So I love what you guys are doing. I mean, we're trying to bring back house to its former glory, and I think we're doing a great job. And these shows are playing a good role and are contributing to the movement, man. So cheers to the listeners and cheers to everybody who's been supporting house music ever since. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So yeah, let's jam, guys.
No, thank you so much for those words, man. Thank you so much for the kind words. Yeah, we've been doing this for over 2 years now, and we're still here. Here. I think the consistency more than anything has kept us here. But yeah, shout out again. Thank you so much, man, for taking your time out to come and speak with us on Everything House Music. Before I carry on, just want to tell everyone in the space, if you'd like to perhaps share some thoughts or give some flowers to our guests, don't be shy. Do come up and grab the mic and you'll be allowed to do so easily. But if you are perhaps shy, you can relay your message in the comment section, and we will share it with our guest. TekniQ Mfethu, where I want to start, I think let's start with the song that we just played. I think most people, it's their favorite. It's probably your favorite too. But do you remember making the song?
Do I? Sorry, I didn't get that.
Do you remember making the song? I mean, do you remember the
Yeah.
process of Libra itself? The song, not the
Yo,
album. We'll get
bro.
to the album, but the song.
My man, vividly so, like it was yesterday, because I made the song during the tough lockdown, during the COVID times. So my studio is based in Hatfield, so I had to always sneak out of the my place and just drive around and sneak into the studio, and whoever I found along the way, Nick and in Seakolinyana. So I remember that very night because it was I think it was a Friday. It must have been a Friday because Lockdown House Party was just playing. I was just listening to, I think, Da Capo set. It has to be Da Capo or someone, and he played the Africa Deeps track, it's Kobuka or something like that, and the whole set was just inspiring. I was like, you know what, I love what I'm hearing here. It's a Friday. I'm chilled. I'm like, you know what? I'm just risk it. I'm just gonna run it to the studio and see what I can conjure because I'm highly inspired by these sets that I've been listening to while watching Lockdown House Party. So yeah, uh, I called one of my boys. I was like, yo, bro, let's rock up to the studio and see what we can cook. It's like, yeah, no, come get me. I went out, I got him, and then we hit the road. 10 minutes in to the road, we get sort of like a roadblock, but it's just police chilling on the side. Obviously, they pull us on the side. They're like, hey, you are above curfew times. You're like, ish, Bram, there's an incident at the studio. We own a studio in Hatfield, so the alarms have been ringing, so we have to go check what's going on there, which was a lie, of course. But yeah, hopefully they just let us go. I got there, switched everything on, and I just started jamming, man. And my friend had to leave because her girlfriend and all these kind of things. I was like, you know what, bro? I think I'm gonna stay here for the rest of the night. Uh, let me see if I can conjure a couple of tracks for the EP because Libra was uh, prepared for the EP. There's an EP I released before my album called Prelude to Libra, which had 3 tracks that are in the album. So I was like, you know what? Let me just wrap up a couple of these songs and see which ones I can squeeze into this EP that will introduce the people to my album. So yeah, he left. Then I just started jamming, bro. I just started jamming. I usually produce music overnight. I can hardly work during the day because of the distractions. I'm one producer who likes perfect quietness and stillness when I make music. So I usually work during the night. So yeah, bro, I cross nighted, played around with a couple of projects. And then I was like, you know what, I'm not feeling this. I don't know why I'm here. I was probably bored. I think the first thing in the morning I'm heading home. Then I just started playing around with the keyboard. And then the chords for Libra just came out. I was like, okay, what is this? Then I started building it from there. Before I knew it, it was like 3 o'clock during the day. I've been in the studio for like 8 hours just playing around on a song that's that has captivated me so much. I was just lost in it. I couldn't. I don't even remember some of the sounds that I put on the track. I was like, where did I get this? Where did I get that? Why did I put this? So I was just lost within the song itself. But one thing that was very vivid to me in that experience is Libra kind of represented a lot of things that I've been through in my life. So it got me in a very spiritual and emotional state in which I think transcended through the music. And yeah, before I know it, it was 4 o'clock. And I was like, what's the song, man? What's this? What am I even making? What is this? Is this deep house? Is this Afro? What am I trying to do? I'm like, okay, let me take a break and find something to eat. And yeah, I came back an hour later and I played it, and I was like, wow, okay, let me see. And now, yeah, that's kind of like the brief of the process of making the song itself.
Oh, beautiful, man. I think that's quite subtle, man, in terms of the process itself, where you went about making this hit singing, this hit song. It's
Mm,
incredible, man. And it came to life because you literally put your head in the right space and you
for
made
sure,
music.
for sure.
Man, shout out for mentioning that. And I guess, was the whole album also finished during perhaps that the same time lockdown, or perhaps other songs you had them from a while back?
A couple of songs were done during the album. So what I usually do when I prepare EPs or albums is I try to produce more than the required amount of tracks. If I'm aiming for 10, I try to do maybe 20 or 18 or 30 if I can, and then try to siphon them through a couple of listeners and a couple of listening sessions to see which ones will suit the album and the direction in which we want to take the album. So I'd say Libras, the album was quite done by the year 2020, probably in December, uh, because remember I was doing a remix for Aluko Rebels called, not even a remix, a song, for one of his compilations that he usually releases and in the Afro scene, where he just brings up a couple of Afro house producers and deep house producers and he compiles the EP. So I remember he requested a song for me, and I was so jammed up with time and gigs were starting to open up, and I was like, yo, I won't make it here. I started siphoning up the tracks that were meant for the album, and I bumped into Children of Zion, which I then gave him. I was like, bro, I'm not finding time, but there are a couple of songs I've been working for. Here's Children of Zion. If you're happy, we can go with it. And he was happy, and the song kind of did well on the charts as well. So by that time, most of the album was done. But obviously, as a producer, as as you listen to other people produce, as you move around, as you gig, the inspiration comes back, and it's a back and forth of you just trying to see which one will fit, which one won't, and which style is the music going to, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I could say by 2020 most of the album was done. I think I added like 3 tracks in 2021 leading to the release of the album. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I mean, the album itself has grown. I think has grown on most of us, who perhaps love your music and who know you. Um, and over time, I think it's made its mark in the industry. I mean, yes, it has this techno feel, it has this Afro feel. My next question is, do you like being cornered in terms of the sound you make? I mean, coming from Libra itself, it had so many different sounds, and it was so versatile in that
Sure.
way that it was just a beautiful project. Do you like being cornered? What do you think about it? Do you like being called this Afrotech guy? I mean, your history with Gemini Boys is also something else.
For
So
sure, for sure.
yeah, thank you.
Uh, the thing about me, bro, is I've never really looked at myself as a certain type of producer, or maybe a DJ, of course, house music. But when it comes to music, because I do produce gospel for a couple of guys, I do produce some neo soul here and there, but not much of it. Obviously, the dance scene has taken much of my creativity. Since, well, that's the industry that's growing vast enough for us to make a living out of it. But I've never looked at myself as an Afro house or deep house, or I guess hence the name technique itself. I saw myself as a person who's able to take musical notes and it's understanding measured with creativity and express it the way I think people would love to hear it. I've never targeted this is the type of sound I want to make. Obviously, when you're releasing certain EPs, you need direction, so on and so forth. But I've never been an artist who corners himself into a certain sound. I often tell people most of the time, excuse me, when I go into the studio, I don't even tell myself I'm gonna make an Afro house track or a deep house track. I just get there and whatever that I feel, I make it come out, and then I choose where I want to take the production from there on. But to answer your question, my man, I've never cornered myself as a certain type of producer who mainly produces certain types of sound. This is why when I was called the king of broken beats, as much as I appreciated that title, I felt like it kind of put me in a corner and in a space where people are expecting that from me. Even when probably that was a phase, or maybe I'd outgrown that sound, I was willing to experiment on other types of genres in the world. So I've never been a producer who likes cornering himself into a certain sound and so on and so forth. And I can say most producers that are like that. It's just that we make a living out of this, so we have to conjure ways and make songs that the market is demanding while keeping our own flavor and feel. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. But I think I haven't really heard you much in interviews, but I think you're gradually taking it easy with us. You're sharing quite good info. You're not giving us yes or no answers. So
For sure.
thank you so much, man. I just want to
Yes, bro.
mention to everyone in the space that yes, you are more than welcome to come and grab the mic and share your thoughts with our guest this evening. We're gonna be here for another hour 30 minutes. Yeah, hopefully our guest also is okay with that. And
No,
then
no,
we're
this
gonna,
if I'm
we're gonna
sleepy, I'll just let you know.
no, shout out, man. Lastly, before you play another song, so that we can just maybe take a tea break, Yana. Do you yourself also believe that you mentioned it actually that you were relayed as the king of broken beat, and that's a huge title, and that's a huge and
For sure.
awesome title. Do you yourself reckon that perhaps you were the frontiers of broken beats in SA?
Uh, I'd say, well, you know what? It's a very tough question to answer because broken beat is a genre that I bumped into. People tend to think that I conjured it or I planned it or I bumped into the sound while experimenting. And for some reason, people started saying this is broken beat and TekniQ is the head honcho of it. And obviously, I couldn't refuse that title. But uh, it was a genre that I bumped into. So when I was given that title, I just took it because Nenka said I couldn't just say no. But I took it and I ran with it. But what people didn't understand, at that time, is I bumped into the sound, and obviously, a couple of producers were inspired by it, and they jumped into its growth. But it wasn't something that was. You see, if I can make an example, I'm a piano. I feel it's a genre that was perfectly planned out in a way. As much as people were experimenting, but I can hear there was a plan behind how Amapiano came about. Unlike us with Broken Beat, it was just a sound that we bumped into and we experimented, and for some odd reason, people started loving it, but there was no plan behind it. So for me to be given titles like the King of Broken Beats, I'm like, guys, the only thing I can do for you guys here is produce it. I can't market it. I cannot take it on greater heights. The only thing I know how to do here is produce it. So I can agree that I'm the forefront or the main guy in its spectrum, but I am not the guy. So yeah, it's a yes and no answer for that one.
Nah, shout out for that. Shout out, man. Because, I mean, some articles literally credit you for creating broken beats. And I think that can make you fight with a lot of people in the music
You know,
industry. So,
we,
I mean, yes, they do mention that also that sound actually dominated, I mean, the radio and club scenes around about 2013, right? 14, 15 there.
yeah, somewhere around
Um,
there.
yeah, and yeah, but I think it was also quite a lovely time of music,
For
of
sure,
literally house
for
house
sure.
music.
Yeah,
Well, thank you so much for that. We're gonna play a song. We're gonna play a song. So technique, unka maybe tea or coffee or water. I want just to relax. Yeah, I want don't
no
wanna
problem,
stress
my
you so
dog.
much and exhaust yourself.
Yeah, no, quite
Just
chill this side.
talking. Thank you, man. Thank you. Lloyd, Arashape number nja. Thank you.
Before we actually go into the song, let's delve into techniques archives. Re ke mo utlwisa ra o tseba re broken beat re hopola eng.
There is so much I wanna tell you now. Wanna tell you now. For you give me so much inside. There is no other place I'd rather be. I'd rather be than being with you. You are all I want and more. I want and more. I can relax, I can take it easy. With you around, I don't have to worry. For you bring me so much joy. So much joy. Our love is something so amazing. What the world needs right now is crazy. For it brings so much. Oh, our love is something great, something special. I wanna share it now. Our love, what the world needs now. Something special, spreading it around. Our love is something great, something special. I wanna share it now. Our love, what the world needs now. Something special, spreading it around. This is Sabrina Child, and you are tuned in to Everything House Music. Everything House Music.
That was TekniQ's remix. This DJ Bullet featuring Zotia, Our Love, and this remix was done by TekniQ. So that's just one of the archives. Hey, kitidinchi, guys. That's one of the archives. And apologies with the sound. We know our sound is not the best tonight. That's because we are within load shedding. But hopefully in 30 minutes or so, we'll be good to go. Sure, Fox.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much to Lloyd. Lloyd decided to take us back a bit. Yeah, I decided to take us back a bit to an incredible remix by TekniQ, yeah, from DJ Bullet. It was quite a while back. It reminds me of, TekniQ. It reminds me of, there was an EP that you released. I think it was in 2015, if I'm not mistaken. I was actually just checking it here because on top of my head, I can remember the type of music that was playing in that EP. And the EP was called The Rhythm. Yes, The Rhythm, where you had Usanza as well as Rizik. Yeah, back in 1215. That was incredible times. That was incredible times indeed. 2023. I mean, it's a dawn of incredible music now, TekniQ, right? So many artists are making amazing sounds, amazing music, and everyone is literally exploring their talents and
For
they're
sure.
thriving in it. What is TekniQ today? What is TekniQ today regarding his career, regarding his music, and just regarding life as a whole? Thank you.
Uh, First of all, I just want to say, Lloyd, yeah, you took me back, bro. You took me back. I actually had two remixes of that song, even though my favorite one was the Deep House one. But yeah, because I was titled the King of Broken Beats, so everybody who gave me a remix was like, yeah, give me a broken beat version. Don't just do your sound. So yeah, I had to make that song. But yeah, man, thanks for that. Back to you, folks. Oh, bro, that's a very broad question to answer right now. But you mentioned something that's actually that's what I love about where we are as producers and as house music listeners today in 2023. I'd say even last year and probably after lockdown, bro. I think lockdown kind of let everybody out of their closets, bro. Like everybody just after lockdown, I feel like producers were like, ah, flip it, born like yeah. So I saw these guys are gonna listen to me and what I have to offer. If they're listening, they're listening. If they don't, I don't care. I'm moving, and that kind of did music justice because this is where you hear these whole new different sounds from different producers. Like literally, each and every producer is not producers are not necessarily copying each other now. You could listen to Team A Deep and say, yeah, no, Gayuka flavor ya high. Jump into Chronicle Deep and have a certain feel and flavor. Jump into Fatso and jump into Chima and the couple and everybody has his own. It's like they have their own color in the color spectrum of how they paint their picture in music. So I love that. So obviously within that, I also have to find my niche here and there. So I'm still exploring, bro, music. We're in this era where there's so much inspiration, bro. Like every week, I'd check your page. I'd see people are releasing music each and every week, and before you can say this is me, you could say this is you this week, and then next week you're like, hey, let me run back to the studio. 1 year. So we're in this era where people are just exploring and they giving music their best shot. So I'd love to say this is me and this is what I'm gunning for, but I'm exploring, bro. I'm exploring. My next EP that's coming out, which I'll talk more about it later on. Uh, it's called Experiments, which I'm just exploring different sounds. I'm mixing three step and Afro house, and I'm doing this because the industry is allowing us to do that now, bro. Like no one is telling you why unsitting, what is this. People will be like, Arugwe, Chu, Arugwe. wow, this is nice, and people are giving it chances. There are events happening around us that are supporting these underground sounds. Radio is starting to play underground sounds, so we are in an interesting era. So, like the boxing thing, that boxing myself in the corner question you asked me, I wouldn't put myself in a position where I want to define myself. I'd rather let the world do that. But for me, I'm in the studio like a young child who just discovered crayons. I'm just coloring whatever that comes out of me. So yeah, bro. TekniQ 2023. I'm experimental. I'm exploring. I'm working with new artists. Enjoying music. I'm just going with the flow for now, my guy, and seeing where everything leads music wise. Obviously, career wise is a different story, but music wise, I'm just exploring my dog.
Thank you for that. Before I share the mic with Lloyd, I'll give her a last one. You did mention. I mean, there was a vast. Let's say there was a rush of artists making a lot of music after lockdown, which is beautiful.
Mhm.
Do you perhaps then think where we at now, the
Mhm.
music is made so much and people love the music so much. Maybe it's because of the selling point is that we go to these events and you literally only hear our own music.
Mhm.
There's less and less international artists, perhaps also just flying into SA.
For
It's
sure.
like somehow there's a new dawn in Jay. Like literally forgot about Laz, Berenroth, and Rocco, and now we literally just paying attention to
Yeah,
Ecstasy,
everyone.
China Chameleon.
For sure.
Yeah, what do you think about that? I think is it a selling point? I mean, what literally just triggered us as fans and as lovers of the music?
You know, one thing I love about music, uh, and it being an art form, it's like a ongoing belt, bro. It's not. I've never looked at music as an era thing, like era ya ba e fetile. I don't look at music like that. I look at music like relay. If you ever did sports, like someone is running and is passing on a baton to someone, you know. So what Black Coffee, what Rocco, what all these legends are doing is they're passing over the baton to us, and we're gonna do the same with the next coming artists. So I've always looked at music in that kind of lens. So your Rocco, your Ralph Gams, they're still relevant, my bro. They're still relevant. They even when I jump into the studio and I'm looking for inspiration, bro, these are the pioneers of the genre that we love and enjoy this much as of today. So I still go there and seek for inspiration. I've never written them off. I've like I said, I feel like they passed on the baton. I think Rocco can come and shake the industry if he wants to. I think these guys can run into the studio and hey, ba re kgopotsa hore lona le dintwana Bafana. But because they've passed on the baton to us, it's up to us now to relive that thing, and I think they're enjoying it as well. They can now sit back and look at this thing that they've grown into what it is and enjoy it as it is and how it is now. So I've kind of looked at it in that way, and yeah, lockdown kind of like I said, it opened up doors and avenues, and producers felt this is my time. I can come out, and the fact that we're in the era of one thing that made producers to actually come out of their shells and do what they love is the digital streaming medias, which have made it easier for us to release music. If we were in the era of record labels, Tanto Sign and whatnot, I'm sure half of us wouldn't even be here by now. So because you can make a song and get a distributor online and then your song is out by next week, it kind of made things much more easier and simpler for most of us. But yeah, bro, the baton was passed on to us. I still respect the OGs. I still listen to them. They're still pushing and doing their thing. So yeah, bro. Uh, from here on, let's see what we can do and how we can pass the baton to the next guys who are coming in.
Absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Tina Ador. She's in the space. I believe she made a song with DJ Smooth, and it's coming out really soon. It would be really
So
nice for us to actually hear her voice. Tina, if you don't mind grabbing the mic, please do. Because I was actually with DJ Spoon and he mentioned this himself. So, Lloyd and Jack, try the mic, please. Thank you.
We show technique.
Hola, buddy, hola.
So I want to know about Gemini Boys. Who were
Okay.
Gemini Boys and how many were you? And tell us the story of how that came about.
Okay. Gemini Boys was a group of childhood friends. So we were four, and we became five, and we became four again. So it was just a group of childhood friends who experimented with music production software. Uh, so back in our days, we were the computer geeks. If you wanted to hack a hard drive, if you wanted to do hack a certain software, you'd come to us, because we're so intellectualized within the computer space and IT space. As young as we are, we used to open up computers and work around and see what we can do. And obviously, what encouraged us there was the gaming space because after playing games on PlayStation, we're like, let's see what the computer space has. So obviously, there we started getting bombarded with certain softwares, whether it be movie playing softwares, whether it be graphic designing softwares. Then we bumped into music production softwares, the earliest versions, of Fruity Loops and Reason, if I'm not wrong. I think it was Reason 2 or Reason 3. But Fruity Loops, like your earliest versions of these DAWs. So we bumped into that, and obviously people were like, "Hey, you can make a track with using this." By that time, we were already playing around level automix, your DJing softwares, and your virtual DJs. There was one that came before that. It's just I forgot its name. That was a hard software to use because it's not the Q button that will link your BPMs together. You had to mix it like vinyl. So we started experimenting with that, and then we bumped into Reason. Actually, we bumped into Fruity Loops. Uh, Funny enough, what people don't know is I started as a MC. We started as rappers at first. Like we just loved music, man. And back in the days, your Eminems and your 50 Cents were big. So we started as a rap group, and we'd go to ciphers and we'd battle guys, and there were battles, ciphers, and so on and so forth. Uh, and then we bumped into this music software and we tried making beats, hip hop beats here and there. Obviously, we're still mediocre, but the passion for it was not as much. I remember my brother's friend uh, gave my brother a CD that had house music tracks in it, and I'll just share with you how I transitioned from hip hop into house. So he gave my brother this CD that I used to play while I was cleaning the house, and I bumped into Louis Vega's track, "Sekade Me." Bro, I used to just jam this track, and hey, fail, I'd play it again, and I would play it again. I'd just jam that track for hours, and I was like, "Kayuga hip hop. I love hip hop. I love how people express themselves using the lyrics and how they mesh them with the beats. But there's something about this genre that I'm trying to understand. It's so spiritual. When I listened to that song, I was like, this song transcends me out of this universe. Like, it's a very spiritual song. The voice, the vocals, the guitars, the chord progressions. By that time, I don't know any of these musical languages. I just know what I'm hearing is good. And then I was like, when I have a musical software that they gave me, Reason 3, let me just try to jump on it and play around and see what I can come up with. And then that's how I started. And I made one crappy beat. I used to have this beat. It got lost with my laptop, but I used to have this beat. And I would laugh every time I listened to it. So I made this crappy beat and I sent it to my friends, and everybody was like, "Hey, this is dope, bro!" And everybody started jumping into this musical software, trying to make something. So every week we'd meet and we'd share whatever we've made, and then that's how the group started forming. As we were making songs, some of the songs really stuck. And then before we know it, we're like, hey guys, we are making music here, right? And then we got a residency slot at some popular nightclub in Mamelodi called Jack Buddha. So we would experiment with our songs there, and people were jamming to these tracks. So obviously, from there on, we were like, "Hey guys, Revo Black Coffee Nyana, let's take advantage of this and see where it goes." So yeah, that's how Gemini Boys came. A group of four guys. Neredula kasi around. We lived around the same neighborhood. We'd see each other every day because we literally lived like 2 minutes away from each other. So yeah, that's how Gemini Boys came about.
Yo, hizo. So out of all the four of you guys, are you the only one who pursued music?
Yes. Uh, not necessarily. I think there's one who's still Byron Leroy is still making music, but I'm the one who kind of thrusted myself and forced myself into the industry, and yeah, I can put it in that way. But he's still making music from what I remember.
He's so when you producing a song, um, we like to know as a producer, do you have any coping habits that you maybe there's a producer who actually smokes weed before
Hmm.
they actually hit the studio. Do you have anything that you actually cope with before you hit that production?
Uh, Not necessarily, bro. For me, luckily for me, I'm amongst a few producers who can say music is like meditation to me. So, music is sort of like my church. Whenever I feel like I need to connect with a higher source, whether it be your God, your Allah, whatever you guys might deem him to be, whenever I want to connect with a higher spirit, I run to the studio. So I don't always. Hence why I say I hardly plan what I do when I'm in there. uh, I just get there, and for me, it's like a prayer. I just get there and I start praying. Hence why I can I do produce during the day when there's a little bit of noise here and then distractions. But if you wanna get the best version of me, get me at night when it's quiet and there's no sound, because for me that's a very sacred moment for me. It's a very spiritual moment where I use it to communicate with a higher power. So I think I've never really needed anything to get my Paul's moving. It was just, hey, it's time for church, and then I rock up into the studio and I do my thing.
Nazo. So technique without house music, what does technique listen to? What types of genres do you put your brain into?
Uh, Yo, bro. Uh, I studied music, so one thing that does to you, it makes it hard for you to separate music in terms of genres. You and I think musicians who actually dive deep into the study of music will understand me when I say this. I I listen to elements within music. So I've never jumped into my Spotify or Apple Music and said, "Hey, I feel like lounge music today," or "I feel like this type of music tomorrow." Sometimes I jump into what I love about Spotify. It has this algorithm where you play a song, and then it starts playing similar tracks along that line. So I like that. So that's how I literally listen to music. I don't have that. This is my new soul day. This is my jazz day. You could literally hear a lounge track playing, Snow Allegra in the background, and then after that, yeah, change and some jazz artist from Brazil is playing, and I'm like, okay, who's this? Okay, let me listen to this, and the next thing, some local underground girl from Kojozi is playing. I'm like, and I start googling this person and start listening to their music. So I listen to whatever that's out there, bro. But I love jazz. I love neo soul. I love anything that has elements and. But funny enough, one of my obsessions within the genre of music is cinematic music. I literally look at movies for that. Like when I choose the type of movies when I wanna look, watch during my movie day in the weekend, I look at where my musical directors have featured in, like your Hans Zimmer, Thomas Newton. I was like, okay, oh, he's in this movie, he's in this one, and he's in this one, and I'd line them up together and just start watching the movie. Before you know it, I'm not even watching the movie. I'm listening to the orchestra and the music that plays. So, uh, cinematic music is one of my obsessions. But yeah, bro, if it's not that, it's jazz, it's neo soul. I love piano. I love. I listen to everything, my guy. Eh? Honestly speaking, everything that my ears can adjust to at that current moment is what I listen to. I don't have a specific genre that I feel like I want to listen to at a certain day.
Speaking of movies, I'm gonna mention 3 movies, right? That were
Sure,
centered around music. I'm gonna see if you've watched these. There's a movie called La La Land. There's Begin Again. There's August Rush.
I've
Did you
seen.
watch any of those?
Yeah, August Rush. I've seen.
You never seen La La
Uh,
Land?
I'll look. I've seen it. The thing is about movies is you need the time to see to literally look at the movie, and I kind of check the reviews of the movies while I watch them. So I'll take you on that. La La Land, and what's the other one, my G?
Begin Again.
Begin Again. All right, I'll just
Yeah, I think Begin Again was released 2014 and La La Land, I think 2018 or 17, somewhere there.
is it?
Yeah,
I'll
so
just I'll
they are
just look
centered
them up
around music. They're basically, it's like musicals, but you can get a lot of inspiration in terms of
from it.
production. There's a lot of um, working compositions that are happening on the movie.
No, no, I'll definitely check it out, and yeah, I'll give you feedback on that.
Ah, easy. Go check in the TikTok or the TikTok. I think TekniQ was the first. You were the first producer that actually would use the audios from the deep house space and
For
then
sure,
put on your page. I'm like,
for
hey,
sure.
technical bees. The others are barmaiza. But anyway, yeah. Let me give the mic back to Uvox, and we'll continue the conversation later. Tango.
Sure, brother.
Now, shout out to Lloyd. Lloyd also hosts this Top of the Morning Space, as well as the Deep House Space. Top of the Morning is from 10 a.m. in the morning until 12. And of course, Deep House Space, Kari Friday. Last Twalagala Corner, I'm a Friday.
Ooh,
Let's welcome to Everything House Music. Yet again, I once was here as a guest, but today is a speaker. Umgomezulu, please unmute your mic. I'll test the mic again. Mgomezulu. Mic check, mic check. Sondele phone Mgomezulu. Okay, Mgomezulu mhlawumbe nje akangizwa. Lloyd, could you try reaching out to Mgomezulu? Okay. Okay. Let's do this. Mgomezulu, please unmute your mic. Okay, Mgomezulu akangizwa. Okay. Maybe it's just busy right now, but that's okay. So another question that Mgomezulu actually wanted.
Sanibonani njani?
Oh, he's finally here. No, siyaphila mfowethu, we all good mfethu, wena unjani? I think Mgomezulu has a bad delay. Yeah, seems like it. I think he's gonna talk again, but it seems like he's got a delay. Mgomezulu, ngicela ukuthi uphume ku-space, just close Twitter and then come back. Yes, and then try and come back because it seems like you have a delay. We can't get to actually hear you properly. So please do that. But in the meantime, I'll actually ask one of your questions that you wanted to know. So Ngomezulu has asked, want to ask Suguti, want to find out from you, TekniQ, right? In terms of who is your publisher and distributor. I'm not sure if you're allowed to mention that, but that's what he's asking. Thank you.
My distributor is a company from the US called Symphonic Distributions. Those are the guys that handle most of my digital work in terms of distribution. And then my publisher is Sheer. Sheer Publishing, I think it's based in Randburg. Yeah.
May I ask? I mean, what's the difference between the two?
I'll try to explain it in terms of my understanding. Distribution, the guys who handle your release in terms of getting it to the retailers, like your Spotify's, your Tidals, and your Apple Music. So the distributors are largely involved in getting your songs into these stores. And then your publisher deals with the collection of royalties in terms of your radio and wherever your music could be making other profits within the musical space, because there are a lot of avenues that a song can make money from, but obviously most of them are very hard to get into, especially the lucrative ones. But a publisher would sometimes get you deals of that sort, or help you collect your royalties from these other avenues away from your digital sales.
Well, thank you so much for that. We've been meaning to actually bring up a publisher go spacing, right? Especially on the deep house space, because I mean, there's so many young artists who don't have the information. Perhaps it's also their responsibility to actually go and get the information. But there's just so many artists who don't have the information of what is a publisher, how to get one, how does it work for you and your advantage, and so on and so on.
I think you guys have created a space where we can discuss everything music. I think you guys can, within one of your shows, can have like a 30-minute session where we talk music business strictly, because that's one thing we need as artists. That's one thing we are blind at. We are so, especially as a creative, this is why record labels can come in and take over your craft so easily, because of, as a creative, you don't want to be dealing with your collection of royalties. You just want to get paid, bro. You just want to go to the studio, make music, and get paid. But unfortunately, it's not as black and white as that. There's so much that goes in within the musical space and the musical sphere that you need to know as a producer here. So you don't find yourself signing dodgy deals. You don't find yourself publishing your music to the wrong guys who then are going to chow your money for a lifetime. And so certain things that need to be discussed, and I think this platform or any of your platforms would be a good place for us to discuss this. Just a 30-minute section where we just talk music business and nothing else.
I wanna or 30 minutes, ne? Too small. I
too
tell
small,
you.
ne?
Too small. I tell you. We can literally go on for 4 hours talking about that. That would be actually lovely and amazing. Yeah, one of these days we're just gonna get someone, maybe even someone high up in the likes of Galo, the likes of
sure.
Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. We gradually working towards that. Before I share the mic with Empower RSA, who himself is a young DJ producer. He's doing amazing for himself. This man, he's got his own record label also. The scene of DJs, right, in SA has become so vast. Each and every week, you go to events and you literally see new DJs, or you have the opportunity to listen to new DJs. From your side, we've talked about the music scene. Regarding the DJ scene, where do you think SA is at? I mean, yes, we have our legends that have been doing this for the longest time, who used cassette, used to play them, but not DJ with them. And then people that play Kadi vinyl, there's still some amazing people who do it today. And then Kadi CD, and then today, digitally. Where do you rate us in terms of spinning on the decks? Thank you.
Honestly, my bro, we are the best. I'm not even trying. I want to try to put it in any other way. South Africa's got one of the best DJs in the world. In the world, listen, if anyone doubts this, come spend a month. Hey, come spend a week. Come spend a weekend. Let us take you to 3 dope spots. Before you listen to your big names, let me ke go kgentwane nngwe fela ya ko Alex or some boy from Mamelodi and just listen to what we can do behind the decks. We have one of the best DJs. It's like South Africa understands the art of DJing. They understand how to communicate with the crowd. They understand how to create a certain type of mood and atmosphere. It's like you're in a different world when you're listening to South African DJs. And we've got the best, bro. And I love the fact that the world is starting to see this, and then everybody who's moving abroad is literally flying the flag up high. So in that scene, bro, I'm very confident. If our economies were determined by DJs, we would be the best. We would be on top of China, on top of America. Unfortunately, DJing doesn't solve our problems. But hey, to answer your question, my bro, we got the best DJs in South Africa. I think we are one of the best. And yeah, man, at the rate things are going, I don't see it dropping. Yeah, it's one art that we as South Africans understand very well, and you can see it within our culture. I don't know. Is it a matter of us being rhythmic individuals? Just something about South Africans and DJing that just comes together. It's like it was made for us. So, in that sense, bro, I'm confident, and I think we're heading the right direction.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for adding that. I'll share the mic again with Mgome Zulu. Okay, he's back. Hopefully, network yake right, man. Mgome Zulu, mic check, mic check.
Ngiyazwakala.
Number one, mfowethu, number one.
Okay, cool. Unjani TekniQ mfowethu?
Hola, my guy. All good, man. How are you?
I'm good, my brother. I've been following you for a while. I love your music, man. I just have a few questions about, especially since. Okay, let me just start off by asking, are you independent?
Yes, currently I am.
Oh, okay. I rate you as an Afro House producer, Young Tola, and I've noticed a lot of Afro House producers are under agencies. For example, Kayenda Soul is under Mayoni, which is Zex Bantu in his agency. I think the Africa Deep is under Solistic, which is Black Coffee's agency. Do you believe that it's important for a producer to be under such an agency in order to gain more reach?
Most definitely, bro. Most of these, it's like signing a record deal. Most of these have their pros and cons, but at the rate in which the electronic music scene is growing, and uh, and just how it's just moving along and evolving into different types of genres and so on and so forth, I think being under agency is gonna be a good bet for you because you cannot attack all the other avenues by your own or by yourself, or you can't just use your music as a medium to knock into certain spaces. Some spaces need agencies, some spaces need certain types of networks for you to penetrate into. So this is actually what I'm also working on. There's a couple of agencies that have found interest in me that we are in talks with. So I think music, just the way it is now, it's best to get a team of guys who kind of can navigate a path for you so you can reach your goals much quicker than you trying to penetrate all these other avenues by yourself. Like if you look at your big festivals like your Tomorrowland, I honestly don't care how big you are as an artist. I don't think you can get to that space without any type of agency or any type of huge connect, you know? No matter if you got a number one song, you need guys who can sit in the same tables with the guys who organize these festivals so they can push you into these right channels. So yes, having an agency, my guy, now as an Afro House producer, I think is good, but it also has have its pros and cons, which I could say are very similar to record labels. If you're in the same agency that the big guys are in, obviously their main focus will be on the big guys. So you're gonna have to wait your turn. So it's like signing. Sometimes it puts you in the back end and it demoralizes you as an artist because you have to sit back. Every time you call, but siyabuya, siyabuya. Don't worry, we got you. We haven't forgotten about you. We're gonna hook you up with this. We're gonna do this, and you could waste a year or two just waiting for the chance to come. So I'd say those are the cons for it, but it has a lot of pros as long as you know how to navigate your way around it. If you can sign a deal that works for you, I think being under an agent is quite a good bet for now.
Okay, sharp. Yeah, goes up. Right. So, another thing I wanted to find out is that since you're independent, do you work with a major label such as Universal or Sony in terms of distribution and publishing?
Currently, I don't. I do have the leeway and the channel to do that, but such channels are best used when you're trying to cultivate a commercialized release or EP. So I'm yet to use that channel that I have with one of these big major labels, but I want to use it in a way that it's beneficial for the label and myself. For most of my sounds, because they are for my fans and the underground scene, this is something more abstract mood music can handle. So I do have that channel. I haven't used it for now. I'm waiting for something more commercialized, if I can, for lack of a better term. So I think they function best at that. It wouldn't be of use for you to give Sony Universal an underground EP. That's something you can do for yourself and get guys like Everything House Music and Deep House Space to push it for you. I'm sure that they'll give you more promotion than the major labels can do for you in the underground scene, in the underground space. But if you wanna go more commercial, something people are gonna sing along to, and so on and so forth, I think the major labels can help. So I haven't worked with them currently. Last time I worked with Sony, I think was 2 years back or something. Most of the work that I do is just backhand work where I help with maybe certain things, mixing and mastering here, or co-producing this and that. But for my singles, nothing so far. But I'm working on something on the pipeline with them.
Oh, okay, cool. The reason why I was asking it's because I think one of your releases had a Sony link, so I was quite surprised would see you actually working with a major at that particular time.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to find out in terms of how do they work with independent artists, Young Tola, because
Okay.
it's hard as an independent artist to keep releasing music independently, especially if you want to grow,
Yeah.
especially for us who have been rejected by labels and now you're just stressed. Would say, okay, I've just completed an album. I do not want to release this album independently. I want to work with a team that will help me gain a certain amount of reach.
Mm,
So as an
for sure.
artist, you end up being stressed. It's okay, I have this music with me, but manje, hey, one because it means
For
I'm gonna
sure.
keep attracting the same small market and no artist, even if you are not so big, ayiki artist efunukhlala with the same, small market
Mm,
and
for
not
sure.
grow. So growth is important, young sort.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. So your
Yeah.
relationship with Sony, was it very good and beneficial at that time, or is it still something that you would do again, or maybe you just okay where you are right now?
Uh, it everything went well from my expectation from the major label that I worked with. I think one of the things we misconstrue in terms of partnering with these big labels is the expectation. It's like after this release, boom, I'm Shimza, boom, I'm Black Coffee, and that's not how these guys work, you know. So you have to manage your expectations and what you want from them. And another thing is when you pitch these big labels or whoever you feel can help you grow, you have to be very precise with your vision and what you want from them. If you go to them on some, yo guys, just help me release, I hope this pops. Ah, bro, they'll put it on Spotify and then bazutula, and then you wanna feel like bakropile or they didn't put enough work. So you need to be precise with what you want from them, and if they can give it to you at this current moment, they will. And if they are busy with whatever, ungaforce, relax, your time will come. So my relationship with Sony, it was good, and they did what I expected from them. And I hear when you say it's very tough being an independent. I honestly, and I think it's gonna get tougher. People are saying we are in this age of independence. You own your music and whatnot. I'm like, hey, everybody's talking as if this is all good and dandy, bro. There's so much that music needs, bro. Promotion, your music videos, your reach, your network, and this is something that the labels have at the palm of their hands, at their reach. A phone call away, they can link you up to those sources. So I'd advise an artist to keep on pushing by themselves until they get to a point where when they knock into the doors of these major labels, they are willing to give them an ear, because there's no use knocking into Universal when you got 3,000 followers. I'm not saying 3,000 is nothing, but try to push. You know, I've always looked at signing as try to do it in a way that, like a magnet. Try to do it in a way that the opposite attracts. Try to do it in a way that the label is kind of magnetically pulling you to them. In a way, they don't have to do it through a phone call. They don't have to do it through an email, but you will feel which if I knock into Solistic's office today, if I call Universal, I'll get a meeting. You know, I'd say wait for that time, and you will know it, bro. You will know it. Uh, uh, we can make an example as Chronicle Deep, who just I think signed a deal with Universal. He got to a point where you couldn't even ignore him, bro. No matter who you are, bro, you couldn't ignore who Chronicle Deep was at that point. So it re-emphasizes what I'm trying to explain. That magnet is just working itself. So if he knocks Bazovula, and then he'll be able to negotiate a deal that works for him. So I'd say as an artist, try to push independent until you have that in you. I don't want to say demand, because demand is a very vast word. Demand could be 10,000, could be 100,000. Demand could be YouTube famous or TikTok famous. So the term demand has different avenues. I'd say as an artist, you will know with you this is the right time for me to knock and ask for help from these major labels, and I'll be heard and I'll be given a chance and a platform. I think wait for that chance and then take your shot. But overall, my guy, major labels will always play an intricate role in the success of artists, whether we like it or not, whether they are independent artists who are succeeding. We can never override what major labels have done for the industry and what they can do. And if you feel you have a release that these guys can help push or do a great job at, I'd say shoot your shot and all the best.
Yeah, ngiyabonga nsizwa yakithi. Yeah, so ngiyayivala manje with just one last question. I was following Prince KB. He's been with Universal. I think it was a 360 deal for a long time. And then now he's independent. Yeah, Antola, he's with In Grooves, which is also a division of Universal, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just looking at the fact that at least Universal played a major role in putting him in,
For
and then
sure.
now since he can start from scratch and push his own music independently, there is a major difference that I can see a gap. You would see Universal, they can still play his music on radio and give him more airplay. Like if at your life, it's being played, a lot on radio as compared to him being independent. That's why
For
I
sure.
asked about major labels. You would see the challenge is that you would say, okay, even if you leave a major label, it's over independent on Mbela. You need to get your music out there. It's not easy as it was while you were at Universal. But now you own your masters. But then the struggle now to get your music out there is a bit hard
Mm.
as compared to you being inside Universal. So when you say your relationship, yeah, Sony, it was good. In my head, I always thought, Uguti, if someone is under a major, they will distribute, publish, and they will also assist you in terms of radio and TV rotation in terms of music. But now, since you've explained it, Uguti, as in, you must never have high expectations under a major. You still need to push in the work. So it kind of makes sense for me. But I really appreciate your responses, Mfowethu.
Pleasure,
Nkulunkulu
my dog.
akubusise, and yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks, my guy. It was a blessing talking to you, bro.
Sharp, sharp, Bafu.
Ooh,
Sibonge kakhulu Mngomezulu. Thank you for coming through, brother. Mngomezulu actually came to the Deep House space very recent for his Hidden Wounds EP. So if you're in the space and you actually haven't heard of Hidden Wounds EP, definitely go check it out. You would love it. You would love it to bits. An amazing EP that Mngomezulu has released. Let's share the mic with the young man Empire say all the way from Mpumalanga. Empire say, welcome to Everything House Music, brother. Please unmute your mic.
Sure, Vox. Thank you so much, and good evening to everyone present at the space, and a special one to TekniQ. Yo, man, I feel like Kumgomezulu actually his last three questions have taken what I wanted to ask, which is amazing because I was listening and just listening carefully and taking notes. But yeah, man, for someone who works on campus radio, um, like we do have some CDs from back then. And believe me when I say 99% of music submissions that come on radio are actually coming from the big three, which is Sony, Universal, and Warner. So as an independent artist, independent producer, chances of you coming on radio, oof, man, not gonna lie, very, very slim. Not impossible, but very slim. And oh man, I guess also social media does play a very important role, as TekniQ said, that some sort of, not necessarily, but some sort of demand and some attention around your name and music, which leads to obviously the compilers and music now making sure that your music is on. But yeah, I was shocked to see that, particularly the music that's being played on radio, particularly where I work, is mostly from the big three, literally 99%. So to answer Zulu, quite or rather a note that I made based on what he asked is just saying it's necessarily good to work with these majors, just to also explore other avenues of mediums whereby people can discover you, whereby people can listen to your music. I feel it's really a good thing, but also it just needs to be a clear deal. Yeah, Matrix 60, it's quite a very dangerous thing in today's times, you know. And I'm also super impressed with TekniQ's line of work, whereby he has his own distribution, whereby he's in full control of everything in terms of release dates and all of that. Because we know that with majors, they can just shelf you, and yeah,
Mm.
that's really I wanted to say. But then the question would be, TekniQ, there's a song on your album, Libra, the song you did with Tiffany Rosebuds. What a beautiful jam, man. I hear this progression again on Robert Glasper's song with, forgot her name now. But yo, man, I'm just wondering, how did that collaboration come about? Such a beautiful jam, everything, the bass line, that chord progression once again, and the vocals from Tiffany. Such an incredible collaboration. Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the wise words and adding to what I was actually elaborating to Ngome Zulu about major labels and so on and so forth. Basically, just wrapping up what I was explaining. Uh, the song that I did with Tiffany, uh, it's one of the tracks that I think, if I'm not wrong, it was one of the few tracks that I did for the Libra album. I think I did that song after Amasiko, if I'm not wrong. I've been working with Tiffany for a while. She's been in my previous album, so we have a relationship. Even today, we have a great relationship together. So I'm a huge Robert Glasper fan. I listen to his music, so on and so forth. So what I try to do when I listen to music, like I said, I'm a jazz fanatic. I try to heed some inspirations from these great guys and try to see if I can incorporate a couple of notes, progressions into what I do. So I think I was listening to Black Radio, and the song's track is Move by Robert Glasper featuring a female duo. I think they're a duo or a trio called King. They're from the US, very gifted vocalists. Check them out. Uh, I listened to that and I kind of drawed inspiration from it. Uh, I started making a couple of beats around what I think a house version would sound like. And then obviously I ended up with that instrumental. And yeah, I was like, Tiffany, I think you are one person who could do justice to this song. And then I sent it to her. And then yeah, bro, he wrapped it up. It's one of my favorites. I wasn't happy with the mixing because I kind of mixed the album in a rush. But hey, when the time came, I was like, I hope they enjoy it. So yeah, man, it's one of my favorites. A very beautiful song inspired by Robert Glasper's Move, featuring King. So yeah, bro.
Nah, thank you so much, man. That's all I have to say. Thank you once again, Vox.
Shout out to Empire SA. He's also been on the Deep House Space quite a few times. He's released an EP called Apathy EP. Yes, that's what we reviewed quite recently on the Deep House Space. Please go check out that EP. Young, super talented young man. Thank you so much for grabbing the mic. TekniQ Ncha, earlier on, you mentioned that we're gonna come and talk about music that's coming. Yes, music that's coming. There's a song that we've been promoting on the Deep House Space that we've been playing on the decks. A remix of yours. Fire remix. Hey, I'm going to have a technique. So yeah, please tell us about the upcoming music. I mean, what is the direction? What's the process of it? And yeah, what's your take on at least step? I believe yes,
Yeah,
you jumping on the thing like crazy. Also sounds
for sure.
super dope. So yeah, please share that. Thank you.
Uh, I'm currently working on a couple of songs. I had a couple of remixes that were submitted to me, which I hadn't gotten around in doing because one of our equipment in the studio was messed up, and we had to actually fly the sound card out to get it fixed. So that kind of delayed my production process for a while. But ever since it got back, I just started working on the remixes that I had to submit. So I got a couple of remixes that I wouldn't like to mention here, uh, for other reasons because sometimes the remixes end up on the EPs, sometimes they don't, and then so on and so forth. But I'm working on most of them I just want them to be a surprise. So I'm working on a couple of remixes for now. I just wrapped up the production of my next EP, Afro House EP, obviously. venturing into three-step. Yeah, people just literally pulled me back into that broken beat era. They were like, "Yay, TekniQ!" Just when three-step was just getting into the picture, I started getting calls from producers. Everybody. I was with Da Capo and San L a couple of weeks ago. Uh, they were like, "Hey, Ntwana, they are coming into your avenue now. Sabat like, do your thing, jump into it." I'm like, you know what? I listened to three step. I could hear a bit of broken beat in there, but I wasn't really associating it with that broken beat era. But I could hear what. I mean, sometimes as a creative, you are too technical. You can't hear what people are hearing. So I was like, if people are requesting this from me, obviously they feel that I can contribute into this new wave of three step. So I've jumped into it. My next coming EP will be a bit of that. And yeah, man, I'm working with a couple of guys in the industry. Like I like most of my work to be more of a surprise and than to hey gay spanale mamang or me and who are gonna release because now then that keeps the fans waiting and you're gonna get this question for the next 3 months. When is this song coming out? When is this song coming out? So I'd say just follow. I'm gonna give you a bunch of music because I've been after my release uh I kind of dimmed down on the releases, but it wasn't back. It wasn't a while back. My last release was the final chapter of Transitions. But I'm sure I'll be giving a guy. I'll be giving my fans and people just maybe 2 or 3 releases before this year ends, and that'll be approximately 6 to 7 songs. So that's coming up. Yeah, man. Nothing much more to say about what's coming than to say just tune in. The remixes are gonna come. Uh, I'm in the studio. I'm working on my album already, which I'm gonna release next year. I just gave people a hint of what it's gonna comprise of. Double disc, version one or side one will be your deep house, and then side two will be your three step and afro and so on and so forth. So I'm in the studio, bro, every day. I'm just actually I was from the studio even before the show started. I'm just working, man. So stay tuned. I'll be bringing you more music.
Um, before we play a song, I think we can play Funk Master, um, the remix, the Technics remix of somewhere in Ibiza. I think that should be a fireball. Yeah, that should be a fireball of a song. Technique, do you think? I mean, I think I had the conversation like I think 3 weeks ago or so. I was sitting with UPZ, also alongside Efan Van Pierce, a popular DJ from this side, and they were vocalizing on how we as South Africans sort of always just venture out into this deep house genre and want to create our own names and create our own genres. Yeah, well, and just like we just mentioned now, or three step in actual fact, we could say it transitioned from broken beat, but all of a sudden now there's three step and then it's a new genre itself, right? I mean, in your view, do you perhaps feel like we are maybe exploiting all these genres too much, and we're just giving ourselves the privilege of just naming music the way we want to, because that's how we feel. I mean, all of a sudden, we're not deep house light. So yeah, what's your take on that? I mean, the rest of the world will literally say this is soulful house music, or
For
this
sure.
is this is disco, or this is young Anton.
For
Mara
sure.
itlako
South
and,
Africa.
and all of a sudden unali groove house or whatever. But yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
uh, I mean, bro, South Africa, you can't blame them, bro. If you look at the cultural diversity of South Africa, uh, these things are bound to happen. It doesn't only happen in music. If you look at fashion, bro, we're branching out fashion into different types of styles and things. It's just we don't know the labels for terming a certain style. But South Africa is a very cultural, diverse country, and the creativity is gonna go wild. So that's very expected of it. But I do understand where the guys are coming from in terms of us creating all these new genres. Because if we start letting that go loose, we won't be able to control the industry in a way. We won't be able to monitor uh, which industries are growing. Because before we can listen to this, now I mean Afro House is on the rise. Before we know it, three step is coming in. What's going to happen with Afro House, man? So izinto zinjalo. So I get what everybody's is emphasizing in this branching out of different genres, so on and so forth. But I think that's more on the surface level. I think when you submit your release to your distributors or your label, or when your label submits your release to the distributors, the genres that are listed for you by the distributor are very limited. You will never find three step lap. But if I were Afro House, that's what they're gonna do. So no matter how we can separate or form new genres out of the existing ones, when we release, these are gonna fall under certain categories. They're either gonna fall into Afro House or dance or electronic music or deep house. If you release a deep house light album, you're gonna find it in the deep house category. So I do understand where the guys are coming from. You can't really. Here's the thing about creativity and art, bro. You can't really, you can't cage it, bro. You can't control it. It's an untamable beast because artists that come within the industry, the new guys, are influenced by whatever background, whatever cultural heritage, whatever trends that they relate with. And that's going to be expressed within their music. And from there, something new is going to come out. We can't stop music from evolving into something else. And I don't know why, as artists, we feel like a new thing means the old thing is not relevant. I embrace everything that comes in within the picture. I've never had a problem with these new terms, our deep house light. I think maybe when someone is collecting his music and he's creating his playlist and compiling it, it helps him differentiate between deep house and deep house light. I've never seen it as a competition or something that will eliminate the old one. Uh, so I've never had a problem with that. Music will grow, music will evolve. Let's let music be, bro. And for us to enjoy it, us trying to put these limitations, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's just killing the fun in this art itself. Let's let it be. Whenever you release the songs, like I say, and you submit, bazothatha i-three step yakho, they'll put it into Afro House. Whether you give it a term, so I don't think it's something we need to sit down and stress ourselves with. Let's if the song is good, if the quality, let's push it, Joe. Deep house light, Tama piano mixed with Afro, like I couldn't care less, bro. If the song bangs, I'm like, let's push it, and then when we release it, it will end up in the right platforms in its rightful genre, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I noticed that Undosi was actually part of the conversation too. He's actually here in the space. He has grabbed the mic. He's a part of Analog Culture, which is a musical movement right here in the Western Cape. I'll share the mic with him. But lastly, from my side, TekniQ, we are probably, 40, 45 years into house music, right into dance music. Yeah, let's say dance music. Yeah, let's keep it safe like that. We went through cassettes, vinyls, CDs. We in the digital space. What's your thought on the digital platforms? Are they working? Firstly, for us. When I say us, I mean young, talented producers in SA, dance music producers in SA? Is it literally working for us? Secondly, do you see it being more perhaps fulfilling in the years to come? What do you think should be added with these digital stores? And I talk about the likes of Spotify, where you put your music and someone can stream it, and you perhaps can make a living. What do you think should be added onto these platforms to make your life a bit better, to make your craft make a little more money? Thank you.
The digital space. Bro. You know, one thing about this industry, it has its pros and cons with every topic that we would mention here. So I never look at one thing with one eye and say this is bad or this is good. So we've moved from cassette, we've moved from analog, we are now into the digital space. It has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. But one of the advantages that I love about the digital space is something we've mentioned when we started the show, uh, which happened with the influx of new producers, all producers just coming into the space with new sound and experimenting with new sound and not being afraid to release it. So the fact that you can make a song and release it tomorrow helps the creative aspect of the industry. But the one major problem we have is it's getting clustered, you know. And for any industry, when something is clustered, some of the things start to lose value. So this is what we're starting to experience now within the musical sphere, that people are just running into the studios and making songs, and then they don't even master mix. They just push it out there, and then as long as it trends on TikTok, we're good to go. So there's that, but I don't as long as a person is expressing his artistic temperament and is enjoying it and is doing it for the right reasons, I don't see a problem there. So the digital space has its downfalls and it has its upsides. For now, bro, I'd say I'm comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with how it's moving. I I I don't foresee it shaking the industry in a way that it would kill it. Obviously, certain things are gonna take a hit, and certain things are gonna shine out of it. So, one thing you need to do as an artist, I think as a human being in general, is learn to adapt with new ways and new forms. So I'm that type of person. When something comes in, I'm not like and I'm used to things this way. I'm like, oh, what's this? Do people love it? Does it make their lives convenient? Oh, let me see if I can incorporate it in my style and see if I can deliver it to the world. So that's my viewpoint on things. I think the digital space will grow. I'm hoping will grow for the best and will help us in these coming years. And what I would love for these retailers or aggregators in the digital space to do, honestly, is just to grow the percentage that they give us through streaming. If they could grow that, they're making a lot of money, bro. They're making a lot of money from these subscriptions. Uh, if they could grow the amount that they pay per stream even by 10%, I think every artist would be yo. People would run back to studio and release albums every now and then. So that's the only thing I'd love to change. Otherwise, most of the things they are doing are very on point and what we'd expect from them. The marketing, the delivery, the quality. I'm satisfied with that. If they could just grow the percentage of the streams, yo singajabula.
No, definitely. I think that would be, that would be an awesome plan. It makes
Definitely.
sense. It would make sense. Technique. Would you mind giving us a further 30 minutes? What do you think? Nakana, nja. Get
Okay,
ahead.
Jam, I'm still up. I'm still up. We can think rock for 30 minutes more, and then yeah, I'll probably hit the sack.
Okay, no, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Lynn, I just have too many questions. Um, are we? Is the album era ending? What do you think about that? I think, yeah. What do you think about that? Yes.
I don't think the album era is going to end. People who say that kind of view the album era as in a profit making aspect. Sometimes as a producer, you want to tell a story to the world. Either you've survived a very horrific event, your life has changed, you've lost someone close to you. What people don't understand is artists don't only make music to make money. Sometimes we communicate our feelings to the world, and you can't do that with two songs, you know. So I don't think the album era is gonna stop. Most people who still are invested in albums, like myself, wanna tell a story. Like my Libra album is a story on itself, and you cannot deliver that with 2 or 3 tracks. So either way, people are gonna love 2 or 3 songs. So the argument is, why release 16 songs when people are gonna choose two? On a monetary aspect, it makes sense, but on more of your biography and how you wanna express yourself within the sphere of art and how you wanna communicate with your fans, it serves a bigger purpose. And there are songs that people are gonna love 10 years from now. I mean, we're experiencing this with a lot of albums from the legends themselves, where we're loving a track 5 years later from the release. So I don't think the album era is gonna end. I see how it makes sense from a profit or monetary base to release a EP or a single and then make your money and move away. But as artists, I don't think we don't just do what we do for money. As important as it is, there's more to it, and I think because of that, albums are going to continue.
Thank you so much for sharing that and relaying that. I'm gonna pass on the mic to teacher Ndosi. But last one, TekniQ. Last one. This is a very, very last one now. Will you ever sell your discography? If yes, if a buyer comes, will you ever sell your discography?
Man, if the price is right, bro. Everything in this world has a price. We're living in a capitalist system. If the price is right, I won't lie. I'd literally sell it. I'd literally sell it, but it's not something I'm looking forward to do, obviously. I mean, as an artist, bro, you don't lose much. You can sell it and go do another discography. But it's not something that I'm looking forward to doing. But if someone comes and the price is right, and I'm like, okay, I can take a vacation to Hawaii and Maldives for a year and relax. Hey, why not? Why not? So yeah.
No, thank you so much for adding to that. I mean, the likes of Justin Timberlake have sold their discography. I believe. Taylor Swift. Okay, she didn't sell it, but they sold her music away. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
I think to add on that, it makes sense for people like your Justin Timberlakes and all. They're all veterans. I mean, they've done everything. They've won the awards. They've taught the world. They did everything. Whatever they aspired to be, they've completed maybe 98% of that. So whatever that's left here is survival and just making sure they are set for the rest of their lives. It's like what you see with footballers going to Saudi Arabia. I mean, if you won the Champions League and you want this, why not? Go there, go enjoy football and relax. So for them, it makes sense.
Oh no, I get you. I get you. Before Lloyd gets load shedded, yeah, he's gonna get load shedded now at 10. So I just wanted to play that song, that remix of Somewhere in Ibiza, and then we'll come back, and then we'll finish off the next 30 minutes of everything house music. Lloyd and Ja, sharp number more.
We. I do not know what happened, guys. I do not know what happened. I think my thing disconnected.
Ish, ingoma beyiseza kahle yazi. Beyiseza
Ah,
ingoma.
ingishayile, guys. Ingishayile, guys. It's low
Ake
tuning already.
shapile early today, but
Hey,
sorry.
Joe.
Yeah, I guess the song will be heard again another time when
Welcome
when
to
maybe
South Africa.
exact.
Nah,
Uh
let's finish up the 3 minutes remaining, but we'll play with the laptop, guys. And my dog in the background is making so much noise. Ish. Stella, sorry, guys.
Sabrina Child, and you are tuned in to Everything House Music. Everything House Music.
That remix is fire, guys. And apologies with load shedding.
thank you so much, Lloyd. Thank you so much. Let me pass on the mic to Teacher Ndosi. Teacher Ndosi, welcome to Everything House Music. Please unmute your mic.
Danke Putvox, Sanbonano Krupini, and to our guest to TekniQ, Kunjan Mfetu.
Like my brother.
Sharp. So, my question is going to tie up into some of the three things that you answered to Voxak Buzzers on. One, which was based on the naming of the different genres in South Africa that we have, whereby you got Deep House Light and Three Step, which is an offcut from Afro. Then the second one goes into the digital space, where the music now is we are Puma almost every day, and it's kind of just an influx of sound into the waves, and you tend to miss certain tracks and sound. In all of that, there is the business aspect and the business admin of artists doing music. If you put too much music online, it ends up giving the platforms that distribute your music or sell your music, i.e., Beatport, now has got I just forgot the term they use, whereby if the decks can get onto your Wi-Fi, I can log on to a beat port and play my music off of that. If it's going to go that route, wouldn't that kind of kill the idea of artists going through distributors, putting their music out there, and then losing revenue off of that? Because I think our streams right now are like 0.2 or 0.3 cents or something like that. Wouldn't it kill the artist in terms of creating revenue in their space, as opposed to having to print music on hard copies where they can actually sell physically? Well, this is when you talk about digital versus what's good for the artist and what works for revenue.
Mm. Uh, like I mentioned, bro, one thing about technology that we have to take notice of is it's not going anywhere and it's gonna get better. So I foresaw that coming. As soon as we could touch on the screens on our CDJs, and as soon as we could link them together, I was like, okay, most probably we're gonna be playing music from our Dropbox or something like that. So obviously that will also have its pros and its cons. Uh, one way to combat that is, I would say, as a artist or producer, would be to release a listenable version of your EP, which is probably like 4 tracks, and then obviously in platforms such as your Beatport and Traxsource, you can release a more DJ full version type of a release to kind of combat that. But I see where you're coming from. But regardless, my guy, of whatever opinion we might have, we're gonna end up there because it's very convenient. It's gonna be very convenient for a lot of people, and people take convenience into heart. And whatever that makes the job easier, uh, saves money, people are gonna jump into it. I guess when that time comes, we're gonna have to find. I think one of the biggest challenges we have as artists is finding new ways to make money. You see, if we place all our focus in making money through digital screens and performances, we always gonna have these fears and all these doubts when certain technological advances come into picture. I think we as artists and creatives need to find ways we can make money. I mean, here's a platform that's been created by Everything House Music and the guys that sooner or later might find its way uh, gaining ad revenue money from it. So these are these are the kind of things we need to focus on and not just box ourselves into your. If they mess up with my streaming money or mess up with my bookings money, then I'm done for because we're gonna be living a very stressful life as it is. I think COVID was a very clear example of that. That as an artist, you need to have a lot of avenues in which you can make money. So obviously, what you just mentioned, my guy, is gonna affect us in terms of streaming. But one of the ways I just mentioned would be releasing an EP, a listenable version on your Spotify and Apple Music, and the DJ version on your DJ platforms like your Beatport and so on and so forth. So when that time comes, I just hope we are ready and we can jump into new strategies to address that effect we're gonna be having.
All right, cool. That makes sense. Another one that I was very curious about is Gunangoma that you did, Bule Gule. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Balekule.
Yeah, I love that song. By the way, it's a beautiful song,
Yeah, it
and
was.
as a vinyl collector, it's one of the tracks that I wish. I wonder if this was on vinyl, it would be great for me because I could actually store it and have it for life to play it in future gigs. Now, what is your take on South African artists looking into that avenue of putting their music on vinyl and selling hard copies? Because I've seen the sales on vinyl have actually risen by 200% in the last year. And starting from the time of COVID to today, they have risen about 300%.
The vinyl aspect of releases will always boil down to the monetary aspect, considering the fact that vinyls are much more expensive to press, the admin, the distribution, the retailing of it. It's just the hassle, bro. I've gotten this question a lot of the times from interviewers or just sitting with the gents on some, is vinyl gonna come back in the picture? And I honestly don't think so. I think vinyl purchases are the collectives. People are not going to run to vinyl, and majority of people who listen and buy our music are not DJs, and they are not music players. They are listeners. They are people who listen to music when they're going to work, when they're chilling, when they're cleaning their house, and as long as they don't have a vinyl in their living room, trust me, I don't see the vinyl sales getting to a point where you could make that much profit from it. It's an avenue you can explore. I believe if if we had a plant that was easily accessible in South Africa that would print vinyl by just calling them and just sending out an order, I would put my most of my releases through vinyl. But because of the hassle and because of, and not only just in terms of creating the vinyl itself, even within the studio, the post production, like you mix and master music differently for vinyl than you do for digital. Sorry, that's what people don't. Another thing people don't take into mind. You don't mix and master music the same way you do your digital and your analog platforms, because when the vinyl is being pressed on that plastic thing, certain frequencies get lost and certain frequencies are overbearing on the needle that presses the music on the vinyl. So you have to pay your engineer extra to have a vinyl edition of your mix and have the digital mastered edition for other digital platforms. So I I'm loving the fact that the collectors are out there and trying to buy music, as much as it's very hard to access a song that came out on Spotify next week on vinyl. But I don't see it coming back to its former glory. I honestly don't. I think it's more of that, if you could ask the artist himself and he can get a demand of maybe, let's say, 50 people who are looking for that song for vinyl, he can go and explore that avenue. Or he can, while releasing his music, print 30 vinyls on the side and then sell that on the side. So, yeah, that's what I think, man.
All right, yeah, I hear you. With a piano coming in as heavy as it coming in, do you see yourself also exploring that avenue of music?
It's funny that you said piano coming in. Piano has been in, my brother. Piano is in, it's dominating, it's running the show. But listen, my man, I really don't know where my career might take me. I like I answered Fox in the beginning in terms of boxing. It's something I never liked doing as an artist. I might start off as a dance producer and end up as a I don't know, as a cinematographer 20 years from now. Who knows? So if I get the opportunity to jump into a piano piece and I feel I can contribute to it, and it's not just the monetary aspect of it, I feel Technique could do a great job in the piano sphere and field, I will jump into it, my brother. I don't see any problem there. I'm a very flexible and fluent producer. So yeah, anything comes, anything goes, my bro. I'm not gonna box myself in certain genres. It's just that my love is in within the deep house and Afro house field. I feel I can contribute more to that than I would in the piano side. I think there are already guys who are doing a great job at it. Why should I squeeze myself in there and try to force myself? Let me give Technique, the artist, and his creative output to a platform that they, well, my fans and my listeners know. And if that opportunity comes and I want to jump into it, probably I would. But for now, I'm still stuck in the deep house and Afro house scene, and I'm enjoying it. And I think they are working hand in hand, as opposed to when piano was dominating the field a couple of years back.
All right, I hear you. One last one, my man. With I say piano is in the rise because I don't think it's reached its peak or its midlife level yet. And what
For
I've
sure.
seen is the Afro sound is actually on that verge as well of
Yeah, for
coming
sure.
up with. I the last time in Switch I went to an event here, Gunya, and it was amazing. It
Yeah,
was
for sure.
amazing. The sound, the quality of tracks was amazing. And I see that on the rise. Do you see Afro reaching that peak Yama piano and becoming the next big thing in Mzansi?
Mzansi, I don't know currently, but it is on the rise. Uh, Anything can happen if the aggregators, if the radio stations give Afro House the chance that they give Piano. Obviously, that will happen. I think it's heading that direction, and I think it's inevitable. But globally, I think at its peak, that's one thing I realize about music. Different different areas in the world, different countries, different avenues have different listeners. So this thing of wanting one genre to dominate every country, every dance scene, every festival is just impossible. Amapiano has its own wave. It's growing. I don't think it's gonna stop growing because Amapiano is fused with dance, and that's what people forget. Most of the creativity in Amapiano is derived from dance. And my man, if you've been alive for as long as I've been, we come up with dance styles every year. And as long as there's gonna be a new dance style, there's gonna be a new Amapiano wave. And then when you look at the Afro scene and your Afro house, it's more of your creative and electronic digital sphere, which is also evolving and growing with the advent of new equipment and new gear, new softwares, new ways to deliver our performances. So both Amapiano and Afro House are on the rise, and I don't see anything stopping them in the now. I think Afro House will reach its peak in South Africa. We've created, I love how we've created a space for both of them to flourish. Deep House has always had its platform, has always had its own lane, but I love the fact that it's commercializing itself now in South Africa. It's very powerful actually in South Africa. If it can grow into your international sphere, that would be great. So there's enough years, my man, for all these genres to flourish. Honestly, from my perspective, obviously the money will go where people are demanding. So we as artists, we have to put our money where our mouth is. At the same time, than to just sit in studio and release music, we need to market it. We need to make sure it goes with the trends and the cultural sphere of where we are. And it also, I mean, if we can create dance moves for Afro House, I would say, here's three step. I've seen piano moves in three step tracks. I was like, why not mold the three step genre of Afro House the way they mold in piano? Create challenges for these things on TikTok and let's see where it goes. So it's up to us to take it wherever we want to take it, my friend.
Yeah. Hi, Bongile Puti for answering the question. Thank you, Putvox, for the mic.
Shout out to Jendos. As I mentioned, he has a very interesting and popular podcast, Analog Culture. So you can check it out on his SoundCloud as well as YouTube. And he does events. Looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to the next one indeed. Okay, it's 22:15. I reckon we do some last remarks. Yes, let's do some last remarks. It's Tuesday, and it's quite early in the week. So I think people also would like some rest, and maybe there's also some load shedding that hampered some rest. So, but thank you so much, each and every person that's here. If you would like to come up and perhaps share some flowers, yes, Reakwala, no, we are closing off. So yeah, come through and please give your last remarks, and perhaps if you have a last question that you'd like to ask, something that we didn't ask, perhaps please do come and and grab the mic and actually ask that. Let's start with Empower. Empower, to say Mfagiti is still there.
Yeah, I'm still here, Vox.
Last
Uh,
question, last remark, bro.
no, man, generally, thanks for the space once again. An amazing one, informative. Getting to know technique. And yeah, big shout outs. Hope everyone has a great, great, great night.
Thanks, my brother.
Sure.
Technique, there was a question here. Someone asked Uti, something regarding a podcast. We're still expecting more. Do you know something regarding that?
A question regarding a podcast
Yes.
from my side.
Yeah, from your side. I mean, do you do any podcasting, perhaps?
No, nothing as of recent. That's why I'm surprised.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
mixes, but not a podcast at the moment.
Oh, okay. No problem. Let's share the mic. Lloyd Incha, last remarks, last question, last thoughts.
Hey, like you can make a load shedding so mara fed. Ane TekniQ tlatlaka na mo distrate.
Bless my dog.
So I got a DM. Well, not a DM, but a reply on WhatsApp when I posted that TekniQ is coming to the space. Hey, kala le feta batho. Go ahead, fill the TekniQ.
Hey.
Ke
Hey.
tlwaele da.
PG-13, bro. PG-13, everything house music. I don't know what you're talking about. PG-13.
Ai ne fele. And batho ba tang ke ba bone mo space mara de bene ba le thabile ka teng mara ne re tla be re le da. Mara ke ba bone. No, thanks for
Our
pulling through,
music.
bro.
But
Thanks for
yeah.
pulling through. Sure.
Technique, will we get will you ever release CDs again? What do you think about that? Ever?
Yeah, on demand, my bro. But here's the problem. Where are they going to play the CDs? That's the question I'd be asking whoever is asking. Is looking for CDs. The cars are not releasing any CD players anymore. Unless if you got your old hi-fi and you still want to hear how it jams, then yeah, on demand I would, but I don't see people demanding any CDs in the near future.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think Lyra did that quite recently. I think she put her music on CDs and USBs, something like that. But yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
that.
your
yeah.
lyrics still have your old crowd and your old listeners in her fan base, so it makes sense for her. So as long as not the crowd are 2000 and moving upwards, I don't think that would be a lucrative deal for you. They are not interested in. They're interested in the music. They don't care where they play it at, and they want to look at the quickest aggregator to play the music at, which is your digital spaces and your Spotify.
No, absolutely. Thank you for that. Brother Funk, sesiyavala namhlanje la ku everything house music. Have you got some last words perhaps you'd like to share?
Yo, how's it, man? Nothing much, hey. I was just tuning in just to listen, hey.
No,
Cheers, my bro.
shout out to Brother Funk. Thank you for
Yes,
coming
sir.
through, man,
Yeah, big ups to
and
also.
lending your ear to us.
Yes, sir.
No, shout out. It's been a pleasure. Technique. Siyabonga kakhulu. Let me give the mic first to Ndosi. Last remark, Ndosi, from your side before we get last remarks from Technique.
I just wanted to say, Bafo, you're doing great work. We're out here
Thank you,
listening.
man.
We'll still flow with following digital spaces and flowing everything else. The one thing I wish for the upcoming artists that are coming into the game is for them to understand the admin and understand the distribution of their music and the monetary value. Because some of them are coming in, they want to actually make music their career as opposed to having it as a second choice. So
For sure.
somewhere in your moving forward, when you guys do your what do we call it? Let's say I'm a seminars
Yeah,
and
for
maybe
sure.
master classes and teaching people. Maybe have that influence in pushing out that information more to say, hey, gents, since there's no music school that you went to or administration school where it talks about what is masters, what is distribution, who does this, who does that, Gwen's one universal. That info, naturally chance, just to put it out there, we can also just promulgate it to some of the people that you can't reach. So as they have that information, lo muntu ohleli ngale khoneni looking at technique and saying, I want to be in that guy's level at some stage of my life. And yeah, good luck for your future endeavors, Bafo. Just know you got
Thanks,
support
my
out
bro.
here.
Thanks,
Yeah,
man. I appreciate it. Stay
tanko.
well, man. Ula.
Siyabonga, Ndosi, siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. Mfethu siyabonga mfethu TekniQ, siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you for giving us your
Pleasure,
time,
my dog.
for letting us access your life, and for giving us 2 hours of just pleasure, man, just to know your life again, just to know your career and some of the things that you're working on. We're gonna see you definitely
Thanks.
back, either on in the deep house space. You did mention or
Yeah,
release something that's
for
deep
sure.
house-ish, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Please, do let us know when you do, so we can have you on. Can you
definitely.
please get your last remarks, and you can mention as furthest as, I mean, the plans that you have for the rest of the year. I mean, give
Oh,
us
yeah,
Steve, little
for
Monaco
sure.
guy, TekniQ, Ediabu, Matsating, everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So please, man, give us last remarks for the space today. Thank you.
uh, First of all, man, thanks for inviting me here. I think, like I said when we started this space, we need more of this. We need more of this information out there. It's funny how our industry is so open in terms of access, but it's so closed in terms of information, and that needs to change. Uh, so these kind of spaces are very imperative, and if we can utilize them to the best of their ability and share what we know, and yeah, grace this industry that we so love that has changed our lives and grow with it. I think that would be great. So thank you for inviting me here. I'm looking forward for the deep house space and continue doing what you're doing, guys. You are playing a huge role within the deep house. I'm actually expecting a festival from you guys. I've been waiting with Yala. Who's on any booking from Fox at Baba? We got a space here, Siakfuna. Let's run with it. You guys literally have that fan base and that supportmanship, and it could even start as a seminar and end up as a festival at the end. So you guys are on the right track. Keep on pushing. Thank you for that. For the rest of the year, I mean, it's just 3 months left. Like I said, the releases that are going to be coming through, I don't have the exact date for now for most of the releases, but I will know for two of my releases probably by next week, because most of my songs are now going to the master, and whatnot. I think on the next space we need to discuss the importance of your mixing and mastering and how this thing helps the music grow outside South Africa nje, on its own. But yeah, for the next 3 months, man, it's just releasing music, gigging, and just yeah, doing what we love, man, and growing the sound. I can't say much about that. I'll be tuning in on the next Everything Is House. Have more guys in. I see my dog China is here. China Chameleon, shout out, boy. Have them on. Just call them. I'll recommend a couple of guys as well to just come on your show. Everybody has so much to say, man, and trust me, every delivery from every producer will help someone out there. So what I did, I wish we could have something like this like every week. Next week, give it a couple and so on and so forth. But obviously, we're gonna get there. So yeah, keep on doing what you're doing, guys. Look out for TekniQ, look out for the music, and yeah, let's keep on pushing, guys. Nothing is stopping us. Before it's lockdown, and let's make sure we are on the rise, and everything is going flabby. Sure.
Thank you so much for the kind words, man. Thank you so much for the beautiful words. Thank you so for gracing us with your presence yet again. Next week, it's ecstasy. Yes, ecstasy next week. In actual fact, we'll be doing a listening session with him for his upcoming album. Yeah, he's releasing an album end of this month, so we're gonna be talking to him next week, and then the week following that, on the 26th of September, we're actually gonna have the guys from Beatport. Yes, we're gonna have the guys from Beatport join us on Everything House Music. That's gonna be exciting. We're gonna have the artist managers, senior. I can't remember now, but the title, yeah. But we're gonna have one of those guys there who deals with the marketing, who helps out artists and DJs with their music. So yeah, Beatport, 26th of September. Please come through to Everything House Music. This coming Friday on the Deep House Space, Master D is going to be joining us. Casto is going to be joining us, as well as DJ Spoo. Yes, DJ Spoo is releasing a house music song. Should be lovely to hear eventually. But thank you to each and every person. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. We're not closing off with music today because load shed is load shedding is killing us. But thank you to each and every person. If you missed any point of this interview, the space was recorded. So when I close it again, you can literally replay and you can listen to the whole entire 2 hours, 20 minutes of talk and music. Sibongile kakhulu. Sobrana futhi next week, Wednesday, but please do come on Friday too on the Deeper Space. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, everyone. Stay blessed. And to our guest, of course, thank you again, TekniQ. Lalingahle, and happy Tuesday, everyone. Cheers. Thank you. Whew, that was good. Funny space, folks.